Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What up, dog? Detroit, it's time to wake up Woodward. And I'm glad that we're on fire this morning. I'm hoping that the chat is fired up too. As always, you guys are a very important part of this show. Part of the fam, man. This Wake Up Woodward fam. And our chat has been on fire as well, man. You guys have continued now, going into week 2, to make this show the most liked show on Woodward Sports. So continue to hit that like button on the way in. Oh, man.
What a night for Detroit sports.
Bro.
W's all over the place.
You know what? Detroit sports fans are real because we continue to take the heartbreak and we continue to love hard, man. And it's appropriate on Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
You know, love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
Hey, KG, JB, we got the legends in the TD booth and the sound booth, but KG, please put up that wall of shame.
I don't want to see it.
It's headline time, guys.
Don't do it, KG.
It's headline
Don't
time.
do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, man. I told you.
Oh, man.
My bad,
you guys
y'all.
already know on this show we talk all for sports and a little bit more when our college teams are involved as well. And you guys see here, we struck out last night. 3 strikes and you're out. See what I did there?
I did. That was a nice little setup. Tigers didn't do anything bad yesterday.
No, they didn't. And I'm actually excited about them. I can't wait to ask Rod Beard, are the Detroit Tigers a team to buy stock in as it relates to the AL Central? I can't wait.
Buy low, sell high.
Yeah, because we do. We have the sports editor-in-chief, I always salute him, Mr. Detroit News Rod Beard will be on today to talk all things Detroit sports as well from the Detroit News' perspective. And obviously, as a sports editor-in-chief, he knows what all of his writers are doing. He knows what all the headlines are, and I can't wait to talk about it. So definitely, if you guys have some questions for him, get those into the chat so when his segment gets here, we can ask you guys his questions to him. But, man, look, the Red Wings. I want to start there.
Okay, hit me.
They were heading into the third period tied 3-3 with the Oilers, and they gave themselves a good opportunity to be able to come out with a victory and kind of cement this run that they've been on to climb into kind of a firm grasp of the wild card. What are they in the second wild card position? Bro, within like 3 minutes of that third period, it was 5-3. And I was just like, what? And I'm sitting here looking back and forth at both games, the Red Wings and the Pistons. And it was just like, come on, guys, especially after how well the Pistons performed against the other LA team, which I think is by far the better LA team. They look to have gotten run off the court by old man LeBron and old man AD.
Snooze fest. Out in Edmonton with a career high, or a tied for career 6 points for Connor McDavid. The Red Wings weren't able to pull it off. They made that comeback, cut the lead, or cut the Edmonton Oilers lead back to a 3-3 tie. But then they let it slip away. It was Ville Husso's first game back in goal since he was hurt on December 18th. He ended up going out with another injury about midway through the first period, bringing in Alex Lyon, who did his best, but gave up 7 goals in the next 51 minutes. We did have a goal from DeBrincat, a goal from Kane and Perron. They all had 2 points each, but it just wasn't enough.
It wasn't.
8-4 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. Red Wings go down. Then the Pistons. Looking hot. Fontecchio goes from 20 points to 8 points this game. Kate Cunningham, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Ausar Thompson was the leading scorer, I believe.
He looks good. It looks like I scratch my head sometimes at whatever they're trying to do offensively. Sometimes this team looks like a well-oiled machine on offense, which is weird to say, and I can say that over maybe like the last 2 weeks. They've looked much better. Before that, it looked like an experiment gone bad. Last night, it looked more like that experiment gone bad. Like, they just didn't have the flow. They didn't have the rhythm. They didn't have really any feel to chemistry or offense last night. And I got to talk to Rod Beard about this when he jumps on for his second segment about what in the world is up with these all-bench lineups. How do you change out 8 players, bring in 8 new players, and you throw those guys out there together like, hey, you guys going to make this work? There's no chemistry. I am so confused. But we got other headlines to get to. We'll get into that, man. Jeez.
And just 10 seconds, we'll let Flannel do his thing on Big D Energy. He's filling in as a host right after us at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
The Michigan basketball team, they
Talk
lost.
about it, Mr. Michigan.
I don't
man.
want to talk about it. That's the thing. I'm passing it off to Flannel. They lost 97-68.
I'm about to say, they didn't just
crazy.
lose, bro. They lost twice in one game, bro.
Yeah.
30-something points. KG, what's up, bro?
That's 2 NCAA scores right there, man. That's crazy, man.
That's wild, man. They almost gave up 100 points in the NCAA college basketball
It's
game.
not like D. Brown or Luther Head or Darren Williams is on the other side either. This is a number 14 ranked Illinois team, but they aren't anything special. You can't get blown out. This is when you need to start playing your best basketball going into March, going in to try to get a spot in March Madness via winning the Big Ten tournament, which is the only way Michigan is going to get in.
Yep, and the Tigers, let's move on to some more sunny, some
Let's
more happy,
go.
some more loving
Let's
headlines
go.
today on this wonderful Valentine's Day. The
Big
Tigers,
time.
man.
Yes.
There's some news there.
Yeah. Well, first off, pitchers and catchers report today. So this is the beginning. This is their first official practice. Everything kicks off. But from a local perspective, we got some final news about their broadcast team on Valley, their TV team. Who's joining? New play-by-play guy, Jason Benetti.
Yeah.
We got a great
That's a
lineup.
crew.
I'm not sure. I think JB might have a graphic. I don't know if you have something to put up behind, but it's a crew. They brought in Carlos Pena, former Tiger, to come be sort of the primary wingman to Jason Benetti. I like him.
That's a good move.
I like him. He played 14 seasons with the Tigers, and I like his personality on TV. Then there's a whole plethora of analysts led by Craig Monroe. It's a lineup I'm excited for. I don't know where Daniela Bruce is. I saw Natalie Kerwin on there as one of the reporters. I thought Daniela Bruce was also a reporter. I like what she does with the Red Wings and the Tigers, but I didn't see her on that Bally list. So we'll see if there's a change there.
We'll see. I know that her responsibilities with the Detroit Red Wings also kind of went up this season, went up a level.
That makes sense.
But Natalie Curran, shout out to Natalie K.
Yeah.
I call her Natty K. See her always around the LCA for Pistons
She's great.
games. She's all over the place as it relates to covering Detroit sports. And you talk about somebody who is kind of embedded in sports history in the state of Michigan. She has some accolades, man.
Yeah.
She's not just a host. She's not just somebody who's kind of in the media game, but somebody that now is at her school in the Hall of Fame for several different sports.
Let's go. I got a lot of respect for people like Daniela and Natalie having such talent across multiple sports. We're up here on the desk talking about all four, and you realize how hard it is to be on top of everything. And those two women do a great job. A great job. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Okay, there we go. Jason Benetti. We got Craig Monroe, Kirk Gibson, Dan Petrie, Todd Jones, Carlos Pena. He's back. Or he's coming now. Johnny Kane is their lead reporter. Trevor Thompson, Natalie Kerwin, John Keating, and Mickey York. That's a great lineup.
Nice.
You know what? It looks like the Detroit Tigers are definitely buying stock, man. At least in this team's future and where they are headed. I'm excited for this Detroit Tigers season. I'm excited for summer baseball in Detroit. I'm excited to see if the fans are going to come out and support as well. Today is Valentine's Day. I'm going to continue to tell the fans, whether our teams are up or down, it's a relationship. Stay by your teams.
Big
we
facts.
are Detroit, man. Detroit sports fans. We are one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best sports cities in conglomerate of sports fans in all of sports, not just in America, not just in this region, but in the world. Let's show people that we matter and that our voice ultimately matters as well. But you know what? There's something funny that I got to kind of put up here. Another headline, something that kind of just made the rounds again. I've seen it before, and I was like, you know what? Let's kind of introduce this to our people. Hey, do you have the graphic with Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker?
Yeah.
He has a pretty cool nickname for Jared Goff. And JB, do you have that video as well? We could play it after this, man.
Yeah, I got the video.
It was hilarious. Before I read the graphic, let's get that video up, man, for the people.
Jared's my guy. He's a great teammate, a great guy off the field, and a baller. As you can see, he can sling it. Very smart. And sometimes I give him a little joke about his athleticism. I call him Vanilla Vic.
Vanilla Vic.
Vanilla Vic. And shout out to Jenna Trotman, WXYT Channel 7.
Yep,
that was
shout out.
via Jenna Trotman. She does great work as well. Man, we have great media members here. Not just fans, but media members as well. Everybody trying to keep these teams honest. But, yo, that to me, I was cracking up when I saw that, man.
Vanilla Vic. Hey, I know what it feels like. Vanilla Vic, baby. No, Jared Goff's athleticism isn't exactly the talking point of his game. But you hear that's what the locker room's like down in Allen Park. Like Hendon Hooker joking with Jared Goff. They have such a good relationship from top to bottom in that locker room. That's funny though. I love
it.
The fact that they can joke around like that. You don't often get that with a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
being able to poke fun at your starter like that. It's all fun and games.
Yeah, and it gives you kind of an inside look at how close-knit this team actually is, how much they are rooting for each other. You know, when you get these guys kind of joking around, being able to laugh about things, being able to learn from each other, you know, the things to not miss in that clip was he's a great teammate, he's a baller, and he's a great guy on and off the field. That was Hendon Hooker on Jared Goff. And I think that goes a long way. The identity of this team, we continue to hear Brad Holmes talk about it. We've continued to hear Dan Campbell talk about it. I think that this team, man, I am getting more and more excited every single day about what they can be. Just even aside from all the different moves that they can make, and we'll talk about kind of one move as well here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But aside from all of the different moves that they can make to improve this team, I believe that the internal growth of these Detroit Lions, that they're on an ascension. What they can depend on from a developmental standpoint, and I know we're going to talk about a player in particular that can absolutely take that next step in one of our coming segments where we talk about the Detroit Lions 2024 breakout player of the year. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this signing, though. Because the Lions continue to be, in my opinion, sneaky good just ahead of the draft and just ahead of free agency. Matthew Betts, the CFL Defensive Player of the Year, and he broke the sacks record in the history of the CFL. 18 in 18 games?
It's crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. KG, man, how you feeling about that?
I mean, he's from the CFL, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But at least they are going out trying to find solutions to this pass rush problem. They're going to lose a lot on this D-line this year. So this is a good way to start building that back up, building that depth up.
Yeah, I like it, man. The more and more that I see what Brad Holmes is trying to do, we've seen him go and get value in the draft. We've seen him go and get value in free agency. For them to say, you know what, we're not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to turn over every single stone.
Look at this guy.
We're gonna kick every single tire. We're going to make sure that we're putting the best possible talent out there on the field. I'm hoping that they can go and find a kicker like this as well.
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to find a kicker with this type of motor. Like, this is not to steal one from Ryan Fitzpatrick, but this is like a poor man's Aiden Hutchinson. Nothing built the same. He's about 6'3", 250, but the way he's just so aggressive and the way his motor just continues to run, yes, it is a CFL, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. Their offensive line talent isn't anything to write home about, but we know Brad Holmes knows how to evaluate talent, and whether he's a practice squad player, which is likely where he'll start, he signed as a futures contract here. We know that this kid has something about him, whether that's talent, which it looks like he has at least some of, or the type of dude he is, the type of worker, the type of teammate he is. You know, Brad Holmes is bringing him for a reason. To me, at the very least, you know, if it doesn't pan out, of course he could get cut. There's going to be many on the roster who do get cut. But at the worst, this is a really annoying. This is a pest in practice. This is one of those practice players who makes the starters better. Really shows Taylor Decker, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, what it's like going up against some of these little pests that they're going to try to send at them all season. So I like it. High upside, low risk.
I heard that he was more like a John Kaminsky type prototype type player. So we'll see how it goes.
That worker mentality. It sounds like whether it's Kaminsky, Aiden, it's that worker mentality that it seems like everybody's keying in on.
Yeah, because what makes me really excited about this, not that I believe he's going to step in and be some major contributor or some major superstar. Honestly, it's the Brad Holmes effect. Every time he's identified somebody, it's kind of given us a little bit more hope. Like, there have been signings where I'm like, or draft picks where we're like, well, I guess we'll wait and see, because once you say kind of trust in Brad Holmes, you kind of got to give it its runway to see where it's going to land. There's always a rhyme or reason with Brad Holmes, and I like the aspect of identifying the different personalities that fit this city. If he's here, they signed up from the BC Lions, coming over to the Detroit Lions.
Already
Lions
to Lions, then there must be a major reason why, whether that's to contribute in that locker room, contribute in practice, contribute in training camp, or really have a solid opportunity to contribute on the field.
Yeah, and I want you to pay attention to this. Brad Holmes, he's already hired 2 defensive coaches so far this season. His first futures contract, defensive player. Look, man, I think he notices that this defense really needs some help. So just be looking out for that free agency in the draft. This guy is already attacking this defense.
Man, my hope is that they move this unit from one that was serviceable to not just one that was good, but one that can be considered elite going into this next season. The same way they did with the offense. They moved this offense into a position over the last couple seasons from one that you could say, okay, they got some parts, they got some pieces, as you kind of got a feel for who Amon-Ra was going to be, as you kind of got a feel for what they were going to do with these running backs and whatnot. And from last year to this year, I think they turned that offense into something pretty good, into something that you can consider to be elite. And I'm hoping that that's where their attention is turned to now with the Lions defense.
Oh, yeah. That's where you got to pump your resources into that defense. There are going to be a lot of draft and develop. We're going to talk about some trade rumors, some free agent rumors coming up. But no, that defense is where Brad Holmes, Dane Campbell, Aaron Glenn need to attack.
But something tells me, first of all, this is the phone number, man. The phone lines are open, 313-552-6322. Once again, that's 313-552-6322. We're talking all sports today. But something tells me, as it relates to the Detroit Lions defense and Brad Holmes' quest to kind of turn this from serviceable to elite, that everything's going to work out.
Oh, yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. There are a lot of guys out there. There are a lot of guys who we may want in Detroit. I may call myself a secret admirer of some of those, seeing that it is Valentine's Day. So I'm going to test you out there in the chat, and then my 3 crew members this morning. Who is your free agent or your secret admirer for which free agent out there? Money is no object. You can pay whoever you want. Who is that one guy you're sending roses to this Valentine's Day? That came off a little weird now as I'm thinking it through my head. But who is your secret admirer to bring to the Detroit Lions? Forget about sending another dude roses. Think about that for when we come back from break. How about it? Let's get out. Let's move. Oh, you got to get out of that.
Very
Like I said,
plausible.
man,
Transition.
What Brad Holmes is going to do, I really believe that the defense, the improvements, it's all going to work out, bro.
Yes. Yes. Well, speaking of working out, is that what you were doing originally? I see you there working out, Planet Fitness. How about that? It's the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work out on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. I belong to Planet Fitness. I love it. They got everything you need, Neil says, except a rock wall. You don't need a rock wall. You don't need to pay $50. Go to Planet Fitness. You can get all of this for just $10 a month. No commitment. So Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry. I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand, you offer more products to more people, and that's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They still have the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. They're located on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile Road. You can also check Les Stanford out in Dearborn today, also at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We've already run through our headlines today. We got through the hard part, the tough part, man. Our Detroit sports teams that kind of let us down last night.
Scorned lovers we
But
are
we
this
still love
morning.
them. We still love them, man. And you know what? I have my love underneath this hoodie as well. Whether they break my heart or not, you guys will see the shirt a little bit later. You guys probably
I got my love. Wendy Peppercorn. Wendy's. That was my original crush, the Sandlot.
Oh my god.
You know. Oh, you know.
Oh man,
You're killing me, Smalls.
It's not a bad choice though. Not a bad choice.
You know what? We gotta look at this hat, JB. Because
What's up?
I love that hat, bro. Your hat
hold on,
game
JB.
Oh,
is
you know JB
undefeated.
be coming with him.
Don't be a menace.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
While
Let's
drinking your
go.
juice in the hood.
Who is that up top? Who's on top of the hat?
Oh wait, you can't really see it here.
Oh.
Let's go. JB the GOAT, man.
Is that a 40?
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
I remember my Michigan baseball what's the appropriate term? We'll talk about that another day.
You know what? Now
That
you got me
reminded me of
something.
something.
Yeah,
I know that
what
reminded
you're
me of
trying to
something,
say.
and
You gotta
probably not
tell
something
us.
that needs to be live on air.
Yeah.
Team bonding.
Let's
We'll call it.
let's move on.
Team bonding. But hey, look, man. Secret admirer.
Yeah.
You teased something before we went to break.
That's what we do on Valentine's Day. We tease.
Hey, tease.
Tease.
As the token single person here on this set, I just want to hear, who's your secret admirer? We're talking money is no object. You're GM Brad Holmes. Who are you going out and just taking out to dinner? Taking out to a nice romantic Valentine's Day dinner. Again, this is getting weirder now that I'm saying it live than what was going on in my head planning this out. So I'm going to forget all the storytelling around it. Who is that one free agent who you want to bring to the Lions? Money doesn't matter. KG, I'm coming to you first because I'm staring right at you and I'm moving on.
Put me on the spot.
yeah.
All right, I just want to state for the record, I'm not admiring this person at all. This is strictly for free agent purposes, all right? So my guy is Leonard Williams, man. I've been beating this drum for a while. I've been a fan of him since the Giants. Oh, come on with the roses, man. That's unnecessary. But, nah, man, this guy, he has really good sack production, and he just gets in the backfield from that interior tackle position. That's absolutely valuable to what the Lions need. You're looking at 43.5 sacks and 68 tackles for loss for his career. He's been in the league about 9 years. He had 11.5 sacks just in 2020 alone. Yes, his numbers have taken a dip since then, but even this past season with being traded to the Seahawks, he still finished the year 5.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss.
Oh.
So, man, we talk about Aleem's 5 sacks really meaning something to this defensive line. Imagine if you slot another 5 to 7 sack guy right next to him.
Dude.
Man, you are going to open up so many lanes for that for the pass rushers. But go ahead.
No. I was just say I love that you want defensive tackle.
Oh,
You want
absolutely.
That pressure up the middle.
Because I feel like you can draft your edge and then you have him under a rookie deal that seems to work out better anyway. But this guy's last contract was 3 years, $63 million. I know that's a little bit steep, but he was willing to take a pay cut right before the trade, and I think they did rework his contract. He won't get that this time around, but you're looking at somebody that's 29 still.
Yeah.
So I think you can get him at a really good price, and man, you put him next to Aleem and Hutch, this D-line is taking another step.
I love that. JB, you're a secret admirer of this NFL free agent.
Oh man, you know I had to keep the roses on here. So anyway, Matt,
The Bachelor.
Caroline.
Will you
I know
accept
you
this
sat here and
rose?
said money isn't an option, but
Yep.
I went with a little bit of a cheaper option. I'm thinking of Brad Holmes here, trying to save some money where we can. I went with Brian Burns. Now, I know he's going to want probably a new contract and a lot more money than he was getting in Carolina. He had that 4-year, $13 million deal. But I think this helps out the Lions a little bit more. It gives them a little bit more flexibility for free agency. They can sit here and still go after other players as well, too, and not just blow the bank on this one guy. But what intrigues me the most about him is that he's still young. And if they want to go that younger route and kind of pair him up with Aiden together, I think they both can feed off of each other as well. I know he didn't have a huge year in Carolina this past year, but 2 years prior to that, he did make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So you got to give him credit there. He only had 8 sacks, I believe like 32 solo tackles, but still at the same time, he was still productive regardless if the Carolina Panthers were taking a shit this year, but still, I like the guy. He's athletic, his intensity, and like I said, once again, pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson, I just think these two could feed off of each other, going back and forth, just being the two younger guys on the line out there. So give me Brian Burns as my secret admirer if he accepts these roses.
What a couple.
Will you accept this rose? It's The Bachelor,
What are
man.
you, tuxedo mask now?
Hey, Kool-Aid.
Right?
Kool-Aid, what about you, man? Who you sending a love letter to?
You know what? I don't know if it's going to be a love letter, but it's at least going to be some type of fax or something to just say, hey, your services are needed here.
Okay.
I believe that guy is Chris Jones. Super Bowl winning defensive tackle, Chris Jones. Hey, look, if money is not the object here, and you can just throw him the bag, I for multiple reasons. You talk about a guy who can wreck an entire team's game plan, an entire offense's game plan. Get into the backfield and get to the quarterback, stop the run, and we talk about those intangibles. That's what we continue to hear Brad Holmes talk about. You talk about a guy who has that championship pedigree, a guy that can step into that locker room and instantly command a certain respect. And like we all continue to kind of have this hunch, you can see where I'm going.
Hell
yeah. Aiden Hutchinson needs help. I don't think that there's several players out here from Danielle Hunter to Chris Jones to the people you guys mentioned.
We'll talk about my girls.
That can ultimately help Aiden Hutchinson. And you know what? How can you go wrong with this guy?
You can't.
What did Kelsey call him? One of the best to ever do it?
Wow.
Yeah, after the Super Bowl.
Chris
Jones, man. Hey, Chris Jones, this feels so weird to say. Accept these roles as Chris Jones. Come to Detroit, man.
That would be epic if Chris Jones came next to Liam. For all the reasons you were talking about, Leonard Williams, shoot. For all the reasons, bring him home. Chris Jones, that would probably be my number one. But I'm going to pivot.
Who gets your roles?
What?
Who gets your roles?
Danielle Hunter.
Danielle Hunter,
edge rusher from the Minnesota Vikings. This is, again, no, money is no object. I'm going with Danielle Hunter to pair with Aiden Hutchinson. Put him across. It helps Hutch. It helps that defensive line. It will help Ali McNeil too. It also helps that secondary. For all the same reasons we've been talking about, I want Danielle Hunter at 29 years old. He'll be turning 30. He's going to be $20 to $25 million a year. That's a lot of money, but it's Valentine's Day. I'm ready to spend. Danielle Hunter, come on to Detroit.
Come on home.
And I think the question is, how realistic is it for the Lions to get any of those players that we mentioned this morning? And is it ultimately vital for them to be able to go after a player of that magnitude?
I don't know. I don't think they're going to be spending a ton in free agency. I don't believe they're going to get that one stud, that one $25 million free agent, $25 million. But they might, and there's a chance you go get one. Maybe it's in the $15 to $20 million range. You add a stud free agent, ideally on the defensive line. Then you fill in the other holes with guys through the draft, cheaper free agents, a cornerback. Maybe you want a veteran cornerback, someone who can come and understand really what it means to be a number one, even if they're not a true number one anymore. You try to get someone in on a one-year deal to bridge that gap to the next year where maybe you've drafted a stud cornerback or you're going to go out and pay for that position. But they're going to be taking care of the Penei Sewells, the Aiden Hutchinsons, the Amon-Ra St. Browns before they really start spending. But you never know. One day Brad is gonna lay the hammer down and he's gonna go get someone big. I just don't think it's gonna be this year.
Because I was gonna ask another question as well, and maybe it's a topic that we can kind of get into later on in the week. But which position is most important for Brad Holmes to go and absolutely make sure that there is a star? That if he had to go out this offseason, is it the linebackers, is it the corner, the defensive backfield, or is it the defensive line? And we've talked about it. We've kind of bantered about all week, really. Last week as well. I know Terry Foster asked something similar as well. But which one is more important? Because I like the approach they've taken. I've said this before about taking a unit and turning it into something more elite. Pause. That has to be a pause. Yeah. But making it more elite. And that's where I'm looking at this linebacker room, and then you kind of get to the defensive line as well. And it's like those are the two lines, the two positions on the defensive side where I believe they're the closest to getting to elite. If they go out there and say, you know what, we will make a splash at this position.
True. Or you take the other route and you go developing some of these units that they've started to build, like that linebacker group, which is just about fully homegrown. I know Alex Anzalone came over from the Saints, but when we're talking about Derek Barnes, when we're talking about Jack Campbell, when we're talking about maybe bringing back Jalen Reeves-Maybin, this is where we're looking for guys to break out. This is how you save money. Of course, you can go out and get a big-time free agent at the linebacker position. What I'm looking for is for some of those younger linebackers to take that next step, to break out in 2024.
You know what? We should probably talk about that next, man.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell, 2024 Defensive Player of breakout candidate for the Lions, man. I think his talent, man, and his potential to be able to reach that next level, I think is pretty high.
It's very high. Very high, as if he was sponsored by Dispo. You know, because at Dispo Dispensary, they got exclusive deals.
Let's go.
You can go experience a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere. They got fresh inventory for Michigan's largest variety of products. You can come through the Dispo stores anytime or order on Dispo-today. It's the new year, new deals, but it's the same plug. That's Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Hey.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, you guys, if you're tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch, well, head on over to woodwardsports.com. Click on that shop tab. We got so many great styles. You know what? You can get stocked up for next season. We got the Stoke Not Scared shirt.
Not Scared.
We got the Meat Missile shirt. You know we coming out. Jack Campbell, baby. We got the Brad Holmes shirts. Of course, the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So head over to woodwardsports.com and /shop and get yourself some brand new merch and get prepared for the Lions takeover of next season.
What up, though? Detroit, welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward. And you know what, man?
Yes.
I'm glad to be on this show with you guys today, man. I love it, actually, man. We got Matt Broad over here, our Detroit Lions beat reporter and beat writer, as well as Detroit Tigers. We got the legends in the booth right now, man. We got Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG. What's good, brother?
Hey, I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great, man. I wake up here in Detroit, man. One of the best cities in the world. I don't care what the outsiders say. Detroit versus everybody. Let's rock.
Bang.
Hey, JB, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm good, man. Today is a great day, man. It's a day of love. You cannot be unhappy on this day.
Right.
Unless, you don't have anybody. But you know what? You got yourself.
Hey, you got yourself.
And you know what? You're healthy. So that you can always be happy about.
Yeah.
You know, when Valentine's Day falls on Hump Day, all things are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least for us. At least for us, anyway.
You know what? Broders, he's on one today, man. He's on one today. The synapses are firing on all cylinders.
Thank you. Pew, pew, pew. Or pew, pew, pew.
But you know who I believe is going to be firing on all cylinders next season? Jack Campbell. Let's go. Let's go.
Meat Missile, baby.
The Meat Missile. Lions breakout player of 2024?
Question mark?
It's a question mark, man. Shout out to Ron Burgundy. Right?
I'm Ron Burgundy. It is. No, this is huge. Jack Campbell, him taking a step here in season number 2, I think is going to be massive for this Detroit Lions defense. He was one of those, probably you might say of all those first 4 picks, everyone had maybe the most certainty or highest expectations for him playing, coming in, maybe wearing the green dot over Alex Anzalone or maybe earning that throughout the season. And he had a good year. He continued to get better. It just started slow. It seemed fast for him. The game seemed fast. There were some missed tackles, missed reads. I'm looking for Jack going into year 2, now to have that comfort behind him, understand things clearer, be able to make decisions a little faster and play free out there. When you get to play free, you're not thinking too much. That's when you start playing fast. And Jack Campbell's athleticism despite what we say about him being a run-stuffing type linebacker, his athleticism is elite. He can go sideline to sideline. We just didn't really get to see it too much last season. He had 89 tackles, though, which was second on the team, 2 sacks, 5 tackles for losses, 1 pass defended. I want to see that jump up to 110 plus sacks. That would be an amazing year. 110 plus tackles.
He'd be by far the MVP of the
real
league.
Best player ever.
I'm not as much worried about
110
sacks
in a season?
Yeah, that would be a big one. I wonder if there's probably never even been a team with that many.
No, not at all.
That'd be
I
insane.
doubt that.
But I'm looking just for him to take that next jump. The game's going to slow down, and having him there next to Anzalone, then depending on the emergence, Derek Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, maybe they go get a free agent or pick someone in the draft. I don't know. But Jack Campbell, to me, he's a huge part of 2024 Detroit Lions' success.
He has to be, because like I said, I believe that linebacker unit, I believe that's the one that's closest to being able to get to elite, both based on what they can do through the draft or free agency, but as well as the players they already have on the roster, man. And Jack Campbell, like you already said, is going to be a big part of that. One thing that I really liked as the season went on, and this isn't the only breakout candidate player we're going to talk about. We're profiling Jack Campbell and some of these players. I believe Brian Branch is somebody we'll have to talk about as we kind of get further into our breakout player series. But Jack Campbell is somebody who, as the year went on, I saw his athleticism kind of turn up. I saw his smarts. I saw his ability to kind of gauge, all right, play action. It's not a run. Let's get back into coverage. That's something that I really liked as the season went on. And his solo tackles, he continued to wrap up cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. I remember in years past looking at some of our linebackers. We've had some heavy hitting linebackers, but I got so frustrated with some of these arm tackles, with the way that they just couldn't wrap up. This year, just kind of across the board, I did see more textbook tackling. We got to do something about when we get into the backfield near these quarterbacks, because that's where it kind of started to make my head explode a little bit. But Jack Campbell is somebody who, as the year went on, I got more and more confident about the type of player he is and the type of player he's going to be. Keji, what do you think about Jack Campbell as a breakout player of the year in 2024?
I think he definitely should be. And when you think back, when the Lions first drafted this guy, you know, a lot of people thought that he would probably take over that starting role. But thank God we had it at Alex Anzalone back there that he could learn from. Because like you said, Broder, there was moments where we saw, okay, he's trying to learn on the fly. You know, he's picking things up. There was times where he hesitated. But you look at what this guy brings to the table already. He's already a great tackler. He plays the run great. And he's not bad in coverage. I really think that's just the only part of his game he needs to work on is his coverage ability. He's even showed flashes in that department. So I definitely look forward to what he can bring to this defense moving forward. You're looking at your Mike of the future, guys. So I expect him to take a big step up, especially in terms of tackles. Hopefully he can get better in coverage duties. But yeah, man, Jack Campbell, be on the lookout.
We saw his confidence explode after that New Orleans Saints game where he had to step in and start for Alex Anzalone, who missed with the thumb surgery. Yeah. And again, it was a game that started slow for him too, but he started to pick it up in that game, and you could see just the type of difference he can make going sideline to sideline, being that all-everything linebacker that people started to project after he was drafted at 18 last year. So think of a whole season of that experience. That's what I'm looking for. He's going to get stronger, he's going to get faster, but now he's going to get slower, smarter, and the game is going to slow down. Yes.
Yep. And honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less. You know, the pedigree comes from the college he comes from, the coaching he's gotten. I believe he was playing a position that might be a little bit more difficult to step out into the field in year one and be an absolute star. But to be able to see all of the tools there, to know that this is something that's really in the making, is what should make all Lions fans believe and excited about his potential to be a breakout player. The cool thing, though, is that the Lions have several players that contributed in big ways this year, but we all know that there's major improvements that they can also make in the coming season and in the years ahead. That's what I like about what Brad Holmes has done, especially with these rookies. I heard one of our other shows yesterday, I believe it was on Ermanni and Edwards. They were wondering, and they asked the question, is this something Brad Holmes can do again? Can he go out there and find more of these kind of young players and rookies that can absolutely contribute? And when you talk about looking for a type of player, these types of players, man, with Jack Campbell up here on the back wall, these types of players, these are the ones that Brad Holmes has continued to identify. He's already done it year after year after year. You talk about a Penei Sewell here, and some people could say, hey, that was an easy pick. You talk about Aiden Hutchinson. Hey, that's an easy pick. You know, a team passed on both of those players, man.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit here and just be like, this is something very easy, because we've seen the Detroit Lions in years past pass on these type of players. But then when you get down into the nitty-gritty of the draft, and you have to go out there and find playmakers, contributors, he's done this now 3 years in a row where he's found starters, where he's found the future of this team, where they're contributing now, and you know that these players are going to pan out in the future as well. Serious football players, athletic football players, versatile football players, and guys that are willing to do anything for their team. That's what I love about guys like Jalen Reeves-Maybin and Malcolm Rodriguez. And I believe that linebacker room, they're all kind of cut from the same cloth. It seems like they're like, you know what? Whatever the team needs me to do, whatever coach tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do, and then some. Jack Campbell, man.
Yeah, so as we get into our draft coverage, we start covering the scouting combine, the NFL combine coming up. These are the type of things we need to start looking for now. We're going to see all the athleticism, all the football skills out on the field. But now, after we've gotten a hint, a tease of what happens behind those doors in the interviews from inside the den this past year, now that's the things we're going to need to be watching these interviews. We're going to need to be watching, I should say, the press conferences that are live or that are shown on the NFL Network. There's intangibles. There are things that we don't know exactly what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and squad are looking for, but we're going to need to start keeping an eye on some of these non-athleticism related things, non-numbers. This is where it starts to change.
Yeah, definitely, because that's where Brad Holmes' eye is. I know that a lot of people want probably a linebacker that has that end-to-end speed just right away. But that's why I like what Brad Holmes said about his evaluation of players. His evaluation, if we would have gone with, some of the numbers at the combine, is Brian Branch even a Detroit Lion?
That's true.
No, that's why.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, a lot of teams passed on him because of some of these types of things. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown a Detroit Lion if he's going by just simply what the numbers say?
Yeah. Numbers said Ryan Leaf was going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Jamarcus Russell. I mean, the list of quarterbacks goes on, but now let's get into these other positions. Brian Branch is absolutely the perfect example. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not like he had awful numbers, but what was it, a 4.5 40, and all of a sudden that forces him to slip into the second round.
It's crazy.
Brad Holmes still has the balls to trade back and sort of weasel around that second round until he finds we can't do this anymore. We got to step up and just take our guy. And what a pick! He knew Brian Branch was their guy from the start. If they thought they needed to get him at 18, I have pretty high certainty that they're taking Brian Branch at 18. But for whatever reason, the narrative changed because of his numbers at the scouting combine. Come on. Kidding me?
And James, I'm going to read a couple of the chats
please.
here. James Canella said, Jack Campbell is good, but was he worth a first-round pick? He's more of a second-round linebacker to me. I hope I'm wrong, though. And that's the thing. Brad Holmes is the GM in Detroit right now, where a lot of us are just wrong. A lot of us are wrong. He's the one that's realistically been right throughout this entire process. And that, to me, is what, honestly, it kind of adds this extra layer to what I believe Jack Campbell can be because of whatever Brad Holmes saw in him. And he said, when you talk about this longevity that he says this team is built for, I believe that their internal growth, their development, their ability to coach up, their ability to say we're going to get the right kind of coaching, positional coaches around these guys, bring in the right types of players to help these guys, these younger guys. That's where I'm just like, you know what? I believe Jack Campbell was the right pick exactly where they got him. I'm not going to second guess Brad Holmes until he shows that he's no longer that guy. And Hoof-Hearted, he also said Campbell developed, I love that name, by the way. Campbell developed very well for a rookie linebacker as the season went on. It was very encouraging.
Yes.
Very encouraging.
He had that trajectory going up. And we can totally talk about, is he a first-round value, second or third? Maybe that's still to be determined, but the fact that they hit
Brad Holmes value.
The fact that they hit on Laporta and Branch in the second round, it almost makes it a wash to me. Like the second rounders are first rounders, so the fact that you got your guy and you still got your two other guys, it's hard to look back on that and say man, we probably should have taken someone else at
Right.
the team.
And this was a long-term investment. He was the best linebacker in the draft.
By far.
By far. So, yes, positional value, you might want to wait till the second round. But if you see your guy, you identify your guy, go get your guy. There's no problem with taking a linebacker with the 18th pick in the draft. Like, especially when you look at, like I said, this guy is going to be your linebacker of the future. He is going to be leading this defense going forward. Anzalone, while I love him, he's only really a stopgap. You know, Jack Campbell, this is going to be Jack Campbell's defense going forward.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, you absolutely go up and get your guy if that's the case.
Yep. And that, like we said, that's what makes it very, very encouraging. And we got to think about this. We saw Alex Anzalone. I think he's another great case to talk about. This was a guy that not a lot of us or a lot of fans out there, and I can say me as well, I didn't understand what they were doing in that. But he's not just identifying players through the draft. He's identifying players through free agency. He's identifying those value picks, which kind of makes me very interested in the Matthew Betts signing that we talked about to start the show.
Hey.
But you see how Alex Anzalone has just turned into this absolute monster. He was a player throughout the year that I said, you know what? This is a guy that I want to see go out there and continue. And I knew we could depend on it to happen, but continue to go out there and wreck games, be all over the field, man. And that has to make everybody encouraged about whatever they saw in Jack Campbell, because I believe he has a little bit better measurables and a much higher ceiling than Alex Anzalone. If he follows the same trajectory, the same developmental trajectory as Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell is going to be an all-out monster at linebacker for the Detroit Lions.
Monster.
Hey, just real quick, I looked over at the TV. Get Up is on right now, and they did the Swagoo Says segment.
Yeah.
Biggest threat to the Chiefs next season, the Lions.
Detroit! Let's go.
Let's go.
By the way, JB, cut us off if Rad's on so we can bring him on. But the last point, what was that?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. Last point I want to bring up, and related to the first and the second round, and I don't know how to measure this, but I do know it's a factor to it. The fact that he and Sam Laporta are best friends. They were roommates for 3 years at Iowa.
Yep.
There is a chance, and I don't know how to connect it, but we don't know if we're getting the same type of year out of Sam Laporta if Jack Campbell isn't on this team. We get a lot better Spencer Torkelson when Riley Green's playing. There are things with young players coming up and developing. Having your boy next to you in the locker room, all the things that go into being a professional, growing up and being a professional, especially as a rookie, you don't know how much that Jack Campbell being on that team helps Sam Laporta and vice versa. So food for thought.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
That's a good point.
Yeah, hey.
That's a good point. But we got to tell these people about Guardian Alarm.
Hey, yeah, this is you, baby. Tell them.
Let's rock.
Get out. Stay out.
It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Detroit Lions, tell the Kansas City Chiefs next year, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that's 1-800-STAY-OUT.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged
beef.
There you go. Experience a Fairway difference for yourself today. It's delicious. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks. Order online at fairwaypacking.com. Shout out to Ryan Ermanni.
Get your meats.
Get your meat.
Get them. Get your meats. Wake up.
Wake up, Woodward!
Wake
Man, what
up.
up, though, Detroit? And look, we got the legend in the building. Well, not in the building. We got to get him in the building one day.
Oh, yeah.
But we do have him on live stream. It is the sports editor-in-chief, Mr. Detroit News, Rod Beard himself. How you doing this morning, brother?
Gentlemen, happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday, man. Is it, has the day started off well for you?
It's tennis, baby. We get our tennis in early in the morning, and that's the best start we can ask for to a day.
Let's rock, man. Let's rock. Well, look, man, I kind of want to jump into the state of Detroit sports. Last night wasn't a very, very good night. It's not a good way to treat us on the on the eve of Valentine's Day, but we still love our teams. We're Detroit sports fans.
Heart.
But we were talking about the Detroit Lions, obviously free agency and whatnot. I just got to get your thoughts, especially, with your ear to the ground at the Detroit News. You guys do great work there. I will tell the chat, guys, make sure you check out the Detroit News and check out the great work that they do there. But what's the biggest position of need to improve on for the Detroit Lions from the defensive side of the ball for you?
It's got to be D-line, and DN specifically. You need some rush to create some pressure. And Aiden Hutchinson is one piece of that, but he's very easily double-teamed, and you can scheme around one guy. If you've got a defensive tackle that's causing you problems in the middle, or and a defensive end that's giving it to you on both ends, then you are kind of, as an offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, you're split on what you have to do and what you have to stop that. And if you don't have any pressure, it doesn't matter who you have in the secondary. You can get, Ronnie Lott and Rod Woodson and Charles Woodson and whoever else. It doesn't matter. You got to have some guys who can lessen that time that the quarterback has to get the ball out. And if you create some pressure on the other side, you can be able to do that.
And Rod, did you feel this way? Good morning, by the way. Did you feel this way before seeing Chris Jones all over the field in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl? You see Nick Bosa and Chase Young sort of affect the game so intensely in the biggest game of the year. Does that add a little bit more need to, like, all right, this is what the Lions need to build on that defensive line?
Oh, absolutely. It's when you saw Hutchinson have the year that he had, and it's, hey, if you got another piece on the other side who can do that same thing, create that same sort of pressure, or even make the defense slide over there and put the double team there every once in a while, then it doesn't, it gives him a chance to flourish a little bit more. But again, it's just highlighted by those other guys and what they were able to do in the Super Bowl, that Hutchinson probably isn't on the Bosa or Chris Jones level, but he could be. And if you give him more opportunities, then those numbers are going to rise, and you can see some improvement on that side too.
I'd love to hear it, and we're going to talk more Lions off-season as we move on. But today, pitchers and catchers report down in Florida for the Detroit Tigers. I want to ask you specifically from that pitching staff, what is your thoughts on this upcoming season? Tarek Skubal is likely the leader of that staff, but it's a very deep pitching staff and a kind of a nasty bullpen. Does that give you optimism going into this Tiger season?
Yeah, there's optimism there. It's just, like we always talk about, it is the beginning of the season. How do you come out the gates?
Yes.
You don't have to be 35-5, but can you be 500 or maybe a little bit above in that first 20 to 30 games to give you some momentum heading into that first quarter? Sparky Anderson always talked about the first 40 games. That's when you know somebody. And Jim Leland said the same thing during his time, that you don't really know what you have, and especially given you've got Kenta Maeda coming in, you've got Jeff Flaherty, you've got some different pieces there that you've got to see what they are and how they fit into this. And is your offense going to rise to the occasion? Do they have the run support that they need in order to be successful young pitchers? And that's a confidence builder. If you're a young pitcher, you go out there and you've got 3 or 4 runs on the board, you stand a much better chance to win, and that momentum is just going to carry.
And Rod, talking about the Detroit Tigers this year, there's a lot of people who believe they have a sure chance in this AL Central this year. I need to ask you. That's a throwback, right? Yeah. I got to ask you, is it safe to buy stock in this year's Detroit Tigers in the AL Central?
How much stock are you buying?
You're not overexposing yourself. You're not dipping into your 401k. Just a little extra cash sprinkled on.
I think they'll be fun to watch, but it's just like everything else. Show me something in that first quarter of the season that makes me believe. And again, we saw that last year, that toward the end, there was momentum, and we saw that with the Lions. So if that pattern is the same, you finish the season strong and you start the next one strong, now there's something that fans can get behind, and you'll see more seats being filled at Comerica Park. It's just they've been so hamstrung by those early starts of the season where they just don't get off to a good start in the first part. And it's so hard to climb that hill because you're playing those divisional games. And they've done better in the division. It's just, how do you improve on that, and how do you have a good start? The good teams are going to do that. They give themselves a chance in the beginning, and then they just build off that.
I love that. And Rod, from your experience covering Detroit sports and knowing about the Tigers for decades, does this, the cohesivity between the general manager, the front office, the owner, and the staff, the coaches actually going out from a farm system, from a AAA or from single A all the way up to the major leagues, has it ever felt this cohesive, or has it been a while since you felt that kind of connection between sort of all three aspects of the team?
I mean, we're in rarefied air here where we're seeing that the farm system is rated among the top 10 in the majors. The thing has always been that the Tigers farm system is trash. Anybody who has any flash of anything in AA, you know what? Bring them up. Let's go. Put them on first base and let's see what happens. Now you've got time to groom Cope Keith. You've got time to work with Jackson Jobe. You don't have to rush them. There is no, we need them as quick as possible. First train coming from Toledo or from Erie, get them on that thing so they can play. Yeah. You have time to really let them develop and let them marinate and cook a little bit before they get here. So there's excitement about what's coming up the pipe here, but it's also, can the players who are here hold the fort long enough? And we've been hearing for years and years and years about Skubal, about Matt Manning, and there was that rush for those guys. Get them here. Let's see what they have. The fact that you don't have to rush that, I think, is one of the better things in the organization right now, that there are more pieces coming. Those draft picks are starting to pan out. We're seeing some things that you can sort of believe in. And I think that's encouraging. The Alex Faedo was supposed to be one of the bigger pieces that they can count on coming up. And he doesn't have to be that right now. Mm-hmm. That's comforting for a major league manager, and that's comforting for the player too.
Man, and you know what really excites me about where the Detroit Tigers are headed as well is what they've done kind of with their front office. We look at how effective it's been for the Detroit Lions bringing in Brad Holmes, and we know about CEO Mike Disner. We know what Chris Spielman has meant to this. Jeff Greenberg, Scott Harris, and then you got to go down to the field of A.J. Hinch. You know, how excited in terms of talking about buying stock in the players, how much stock are you buying in this front office?
Yeah, Scott Harris is a guy who embraces the analytics and everything else, and that was something they were waiting to catch up on, is getting into analytics as deeply as the other teams in the majors are. And you don't have to be a complete kind of numbers head and go through everything, but you couldn't be where they were 5-10 years ago in just not paying attention to it at all. And so they've modernized a lot of that stuff. They've invested in those things to try to be on par with the rest of the majors, and that's part of the difference here. And Detroit sports fans have talked about the GMs, the team presidents for years. This may be getting into one of those eras where we're seeing some transformation, and we're seeing how important having a good GM and a good team president is. And you talked about the cohesion. It's there too, that knowing that A.J. Hinch is a solid baseball manager, but that he has the buy-in from his front office. There isn't that friction that you sometimes see. They all agree on kind of the philosophy and how they want to build this baseball team. Now you just need to go out and do it.
Yeah. And look, before we go to break here, I want to ask one quick question about the Detroit Red Wings, the feel from some of your Detroit Red Wings writers there at the Detroit News, and just how you're feeling about it as well. They're in the middle of a playoff chase here. You know, obviously they didn't get the result that they wanted to last night, but they've been on a little bit of a run. And I believe that Detroit sports is definitely ready for hockey another playoff team, man. It's hockey time. I'd like to change and have the wardrobe change there, Mr. Broder.
Got you.
You know, the Detroit Red Wings, what's the feel around the Detroit News as it relates to their chances to get into this playoffs?
They're right there, and they're showing signs that you can beat a very hot Vancouver team. They're playing well at home right now, but you're starting to see scoring from so many different players. It's not that you have to count on one or two guys, but that stuff is spreading around. And I think that the goaltending has been good enough. And that's always the question with the Red Wings. Can the defense be good enough, and can the goaltending be good enough? And they're starting to do that. But the varied scoring is one of the bigger surprises that I've seen. And I think the thought is that they're going to be a playoff team. They've really climbed the ladder each of the past few years. And Red Wings fans, I'll say it, they were spoiled. We went through a couple of decades of every year. That was the right of spring, is that you knew that you were going to be in the playoffs. And now with a couple of years without it and having to rebuild, Brandon, it's the same thing we talk about. Every rebuild isn't going to be successful immediately. It's kind of a crapshoot to say we're going to start over completely. But now that they're on the brink of the playoffs, it's just, hey, just keep playing consistent. Don't fall into one of these ruts where you lose a few games in a row and you drop in the point standings.
All right. You know what? I love it, man. The state of Detroit sports, the State of the Union of Detroit sports.
Yes, we got Woodward Pistons coming up next.
We do. But first, you got to tell me about Big Boy.
Yeah, like Jalen Duren. He's a big boy. Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmigiana or the new Southern Comfort chicken bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. They got the classic, the lumberjack, and the Santa Fe Garde. Also new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. Check them out. Top it all off with the gingerbread shake for dessert. You got to do this. You got to stop by your local Big Boy today.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort chicken bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Football season is officially over and spring training is here. However, Jack Labrador is 24/7, 365 days a year. Learn how to play now on your phone at jacklabrador.gg. They got 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. And remember, Kool-Aid, once you go Jack, you never go back. Go to jacklabrador.gg now.
Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. What up, though, Detroit? Thank you guys for being here with us this morning.
Good morning.
It's been a fabulous start to the show. Chat, as always, is on fire. Need you guys to hit that like button to support the crew. If anything, hey, JB, show him your hat again.
Oh, my God.
Hit the like button for JB's hat. His hat game is elite. You guys aren't getting much better than that, man.
Do we have a problem? Great movie.
But look, we're on with the legend Detroit News, Rod Beard, and we got to talk about it. It's Woodward Pistons Wednesday, man. You know what? I've got to do this drum roll. You can help me out here?
Yeah, I got you.
Let's rock, man. Hey, yo! Shout out to the legend Detroit News, Rod Beard, brother. Again, welcome to the show. But we got to start with Rod's thoughts. Detroit Pistons, man. And it doesn't have to be just related to last night's game, but just whatever is in the EOS of Rod Beard.
What did I say last week? What did I say last week? On this West Coast trip, they need to win one game. What game are they going to go out there and win? And what do? They win the first 2 games.
Hey, they're 2-2 on the West Coast road trip. Hey,
I said one game. They have doubled my expectation. This is where we are. This is what they brought us to. Is that we're celebrating 2 wins.
It's bad.
But the thought here is they could have packed this up, and this could have been a stinky road trip. This could have very easily been because that Portland game, that is a pack this whole thing up and let's be out. We're down by 20. It doesn't even matter. It's hard to go into Sacramento and get a win with the way the Kings have been playing too. The Kings are one of the top teams in the West. So to win the first 2, it doesn't even matter. You're not going in and beating the Clippers. That's not happening. That doesn't happen. I forget what the record was in Staples or Crypto or whatever it's called today. they don't go in there and get big wins. So for them to lose to the Lakers and Clippers, not surprised at all. But I'm glad that they were able to go and get the first two, because it showed that you have something there. The guys still care. And last year, that was one of the big concerns, was that they had kind of packed this thing up and they were just playing out the string. So, okay, it's 2 more wins, but it's 2 more wins, and it's how they won. That gives you a little bit of encouragement about the fight in some of these guys, and that the rest of the season, they're still trying to show something.
Yep. And you know what? There's been kind of this one current theme or topic throughout the season, probably throughout the last 2 seasons, and it kind of revolves around or centers around Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, and their fit. Obviously, to end this season, we're going to get a very, very good look at how those 2 players can work together. I need your thoughts on Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, what you've seen kind of so far, and how you think they can best make this thing work for the future. Because I believe that the Detroit Pistons' success as they move forward is going to depend on what these 2 players can do as teammates, as an elite, developing into some sort of an elite backcourt. We've seen all the previous Detroit Pistons winners, from Joe D and Isaiah, and I'm not saying that these guys are going to be them, from Richard Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, but can they carve out their place in Detroit sports history?
Bold.
How can they best pair? They can best pair if Jaden Ivey is shooting 40-45% from 3. That's the best way that they can pair together. I think they just have to continue to have more. I haven't seen enough. They have to continue to be able to play on the ball and off the ball, and switch off when they need to. And it's not Ivy having to shoot 40%. It's also Cade having to be able to shoot, but Ivy facilitating. If they can switch those roles, it creates more opportunities for both. And people that I hear from, because there's always emails, there's always comments and things, they want to put a lot on Cade and say Cade is not the player they thought he would be at this point. He's not a franchise-changing player that they thought he would be. I'm going to say he needs more around him. And Brandon, we talked about this for 2 years now. He needs an all-star around him. He absolutely needs an all-star to be the best player he can be. Because when you're flipping it to that corner and it's a 32% three-point shooter, well, I mean, what do you want? It's going to go in 32% of the time. It's much better when it's 38 or 40%. So the numbers just say that. I think you just need – Jaden Ivey needs to kind of raise his game and be consistent in that, and be sort of what we saw at the end of last year, where he was the point guard. He was the de facto point guard, and be that guy, but then also be a better shooter. This sounds like a lot of piling on Jaden Ivey and making it his responsibility. It's also on Cade too. Is that it was a turnover issue before, but now you just got to be a very solid 27-7 guy. Be that guy every day, and other things are going to fall into place for you.
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously, when they were drafted, when Jaden Ivey got drafted, we thought that he was going to be probably the most perfect fit for Cade Cunningham. This kind of fire, this ice, the combo between his downhill ability to get to the rim, and to be able to kind of loosen up this defense that teams continue to throw at Cade Cunningham. And Cade Cunningham, as he relates to the mid-range game that he has, and his ability to kind of hit the 3 in the off ball, and his ability to go out there and kind of just sneeze and show up with 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 assists per game. It looked like this pairing was going to be one that was absolutely going to work from day one. But you got the new coaching change, and Monty Williams. I want to ask you something about him, because shout out to Detroit Pistons fans. Straight up, man. It was crazy to see how many of them were active on social media last night. Stayed up to watch that game. Stayed up to watch the Portland game as well. These games went late into the night, obviously out there on the West Coast trip, and they're continuing to stay locked in. You know, they're not quitting. There might be some who've jumped off the bandwagon, and they'll come back when the Pistons are on the up and up, and they'll say, I never jumped off. But one thing that I know, everybody who's continued to stay locked in, that has gotten these fans' minds kind of in a tizzy more than anything else, these all bench lineups from Monty Williams, man. I'm going to be for real. I see your face already, bro. I'm going to be for real with you. I like the prospects of what Monty Williams can be as a head coach. We've seen him have success in this league. I do not understand it. I kind of wigged out a little bit earlier in the show about it. I thought that the all bench lineups were going to go away when they trade out 8 players, bring in 8 players. What is the rhyme and the reason behind this? Because before the game, he stated something like, you know what, I would probably have to shorten it up a little bit, with some new guys here. But then all of a sudden the game was played and you still got 11 or 12 guys going out there, all bench units coming out there, and it completely changes the complexity of the game. And I don't know how much that's going to necessarily help the established players, or the players that you need to be established, that you need to gain chemistry, that you need to gain a rhythm, especially as the game goes on. And a couple times, it just kind of fell apart in that game last night.
Yeah, but I think the other piece of this is you have to see – it's always that video game mentality that some fans come into it with, hey, just play Cade 47 minutes and we'll be all good. No, that's not how it works. I mean, the rotations, yes, you can figure out ways to get guys in, but you also want to see what guys have and what combinations are going to work. Because you have so many new guys, you want to give them some time and give them some ability to stretch their legs and go out and play. You don't have a lot of opportunity to do that. You're not playing for the playoffs this season. I'm not that mad at it because I want to see what Grimes has. I want to see what Fontecchio has. And with different lineups around them, if you were in contention for the play-in, I could see you kind of sticking to your guns on that. But this is very much whatever. Let's really just see what some of these guys have, and we'll figure it out later. And toward the end of the season, I think you might see a little bit more of going back to it once you have an idea. But these guys haven't played together in this system. It's going to take some adjustment to get that done.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I actually like some of these young players. They're showing, like Troy Brown Jr., Shake Milton, Fontecchio. I'm definitely, I like what he's brought to the table as well, especially from three-point shooting. When you trade Burks, when you trade Bojan, that's kind of what people are thinking of first and foremost. How are you going to replace that type of shooting? I can't wait to see what Quentin Grimes can bring to the table as well. You're talking about, and we spoke on a little bit last week when we broke down the trade deadline, a 6'5 player, 210 pounds, can shoot the three, can dribble, drive, can get into the lane. I think he's going to be somebody great to bring off the bench alongside Marcus Sasser as it relates to a bench contributor. With the Knicks, he was averaging about 11, almost 12 points a game, about 40% from three before he got into what I'm hearing from certain Knicks fans, into the doghouse with Tibbs. He's just not prone to play or want to be able to put rookies in a big position. And that's what kind of made his numbers dip this year. But I do believe, as it relates to what you're saying, you know what, see what you have, because you're right. Where are they going this year? The most important thing on the docket for the Detroit Pistons right now is figuring out where you're going to be next season, who you're going to add to this team, what's going to float, what's going to sink. That's the most important assessment that has to go on. And I get it. A lot of fans out there, they want to kind of joke around about, oh, it's Monty Williams as coach. Oh, it's Troy Weaver who put this team together. It's still our Detroit Pistons, man. It's still our Detroit Pistons. We're still that franchise that people went to and sold out 270-something odd games. We're still that franchise who people, no matter the ups and the downs, they've kind of stuck around to see what this team is going to do. And I do believe that there are better days ahead sooner rather than later for the Detroit Pistons, and they're kind of right on the cusp. I think that figuring things out as it relates to what you have right now, they went with effectively a youth movement, a complete youth movement, moved out all of their vets, and I think it sets them up well going into this offseason to be able to bring in the right type of vets. I'm still holding out hope that there is another star player out there at the 4 position. I've actually, and this is probably my last question on this, on the Pistons, I've actually liked how the offense has looked since Stewart has been out. I do believe that some of the hustle stats, some of the defensive stats, there's some things to be desired when you lose a Stewart. But I'm really just for 2 years now has said I don't want Stewart necessarily off the squad, but I believe that he's best suited to come off the bench potentially to back up a Jalen Duren, which then allows Troy Weaver and allows the Pistons to go out in free agency or in the draft, however they so choose, to be able to kind of target that star or that star potential stretch 4 to kind of plug in that starting lineup, man. I don't know, man. Isaiah Stewart is that guy, is that piece, and I wanted to be able to get your thoughts on it as well about how this offense has looked. It just has seemed to flow a little bit better. The ball seems to not get stuck in the corners as much, and I've liked kind of the responsibility, I would say, and the opportunities that it's afforded to Jalen Duren as well.
What is the premier position in this league? What has it been for the past 5-10 years or so?
I would say the two premier positions is probably 3-and-D wing and a top tier point guard.
Well, I'll say the 3-4 type guy.
Yep.
Your LeBron, your KD, your Paul George, your Kawhi, your 6'7" to 6'9" type bully, almost. Giannis. Those guys around the league, if you have a guy like that for this last little period, outside of Steph and a few other guys, outside of those, you have a star at that position, you can do something because they help control the paint. If you don't have an electric three-point shooter, that's the way you want to go, is a guy who can rebound, who can score, who can play defense. If you don't have a guy who can guard that guy, you're in trouble. You can figure out from the perimeter. You can junk up defenses to keep guards out of the paint. It's hard to keep a 3 or 4 out of the paint. Your Anthony Davises, he's kind of a 4-5, but your 3, 4, 5, you need one of those guys to be the star of your team. And the Pistons just haven't been able to stop guys like that. They had a Jeremy Grant, which is sort of it. Your Blake Griffin was the best that they've had in recent memory with that. But they played that game for a while, and when they were most competitive is when they had a star at that position who could kind of guard the other guys. I don't know if Duran's going to be that guy who can guard the 3s and 4s, but during the struggle period here, that's the issue that they had. They haven't been able to guard other people's 3s and 4s, and they've come in at will and done what they wanted.
Yep. And that's a word, man, on the Detroit Pistons. This is not all rainbows and sunshines. I don't believe that at all for the Detroit Pistons. There's two parts that I have to do for the Detroit Pistons. One is report and cover this team from a professional standpoint, as you did very well for many years for the Detroit Pistons. And then the other half of it is being able to give our outlook on what this team can be, what this team is currently. And currently, there's nothing to defend about the Detroit Pistons. This year is so far under expectations that it pains me, man. It pains me. We're all black for this segment. I still, man, I got my love for my Pistons.
Hey-o.
I still got my love for my Pistons. It's Valentine's Day. I can't shake that. But honestly, that's what fuels my passion for how I do cover this team and trying to make sure that every game is a must-watch, trying to make sure that every home game is, I'm there in person to try and cover this thing, and that I am passionately looking at what this team can do to improve, what this team needs to do to get back. That's what's on my heart about these Detroit Pistons, because you know what? When those Detroit Pistons are winning, man, it just seems to make everything right. The NBA, in my opinion, is better when the Detroit Pistons are winners. And I do believe with the young core that they do have, they are a few pieces away, not from being this kind of team that they've been of past, but they are a team that you can then look at and say, you know what, there's at least a foundation there. There is some aspect or ability for them to actually meet the expectations, rather than seeing this team go and the over-under be 28.5, and now all of a sudden they're on track for maybe 16 wins on the season. What I've seen since they traded for Muscala and for Danilo Gallinari, since that time, this team has looked different. And obviously going into the All-Star break, I want to see if this team can kind of repeat what they did during Cade's rookie year. It's nothing to write home about, but it's still the best stretch during the Troy Weaver era, that 10-14 stretch. I'm hoping that this team on the other half, yikes, man. I'm hoping this team on the other half of the All-Star break can actually show a little bit more chemistry, show a little bit more passion, because if you guys look at my Twitter feed from last night's game, I'm telling you guys, the defense was disappointing. The lack of hustle, though. So where you might not have ability defensively, I want to see a young team go out there and just all-out hustle. And that, to me, has been kind of the disappointing thing. When they're winning games, you see it so prevalently, how much this team is hustling, diving on the ground for the loose balls, getting after it as much as they can defensively, keeping their hands active. And it just seems like in some of these games, and a lot of these games, they're just not doing that. This is what is on my heart about this Detroit Pistons team, man. I want to see them go out there and just play with a completely different level of energy and bring back what we believe to be that Detroit hustle. I don't think Detroit grit is necessarily about ability. It's about what's in here. And I'm hoping that this Detroit Pistons team can get back to that even before they start to bring in some of these game changers that they're going to have an opportunity to bring in during this offseason. But any final thoughts, man?
No, I think we covered it all, man. I think it's just, are they going to Phoenix to win this last game of the road trip? Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's you want to just see some fight. You want to see maybe they go in there with with Monty going back to his former team and saying, hey, let's go get a win for him. Those are the little things that I'm looking for, is that they just don't mail this in, that they play with some fight and they play with some grit. It may not result in the win, but it's going to give you something that you can say, hey, there's something I can point to. There's something positive there.
Yep. Well, thank you, Rod Beard.
Thank you, Rod.
Detroit News. Listen, I need you guys definitely check in with the Detroit News. They do great work there. The sports department being captained and piloted by our guy right here, the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. As always, brother, it's great to do any type of content, talk sports with you just in general. You're a great person, and I appreciate everything that you've continued to do, not just for me and my career, but even for Woodward Sports. So thank you.
Anytime, gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
All right, sir.
Thanks, Rod.
All right.
I love hearing his perspective because he sees it from top down across all four sports, but especially the Pistons. Hearing you guys go back and forth. And I'm a fan of presenting with a hint of optimism. You know, we're trying to figure out how these Pistons can get back to glory. There are going to be hard conversations, but the goal is for them to play well. So how can we talk about this in a positive way? So I love hearing you guys go back and forth.
Yeah, because it has to be about how this team gets back. We can come on here every show after show after show, and we limit a lot of the segments that we give to the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, on Wednesday, that second segment for Rod Beard, we're going to talk about the Pistons because this is a sports show for Detroit sports fans. I get it.
For the people.
Yeah, for the people, man. For the people. We never want to see numbers go down or anything of that nature. We want to be able to create a robust community and a robust conversation for all Detroit sports teams, man. And for the Pistons, I do believe that they have the makings and the pieces to be able to improve greatly if they just make a couple of decided moves. Obviously, a lot is going to rest on this young core. We see them at their peak, go out there, and you got three of these young players scoring 20 points. And then you see them like they did last night, and you just don't see an identity from this squad. That's the thing that ultimately and listen, we talk about it, man. We talk about it as it relates to Brad Holmes with the Detroit Lions and the identity he's been able to imprint on this team. I think that that's where the Detroit Pistons are hurting the absolute most. More so than talent, I believe it's a lack of identity. And I think it's because Monty Williams, he doesn't really know, or at least he's still learning what to do and learning of this team and learning. When you don't play Jaden Ivey from the beginning of the season after the year he had as one of our most talented players, you're proving right away that that the identity to this team is going to take a big hit because the coach can't even put the best players in their best possible positions to succeed. It's like as soon as they made that change, you saw at least a little bit of a glimmer of hope from the squad. And that's what I'm always going to look for out of these Detroit teams. There have been rebuilds, there have been attempts in the past where we just knew this is not it. This is not it. But this young core, and we got it on the back wall here, man, with several of these players. Asar Thompson, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Marcus Sasser, Jalen Duren. These are young players that I believe you do buy stock in. I do believe that this Pistons team is within 2 to 3 seasons of being one of those teams that we can absolutely identify as a Detroit, having kind of that Detroit identity, that Detroit mentality.
Yes.
So,
yes, youth is coming. It's also coming in the NFL draft. We're going to have a short segment coming up next. There's a CBS Sports mock draft that came out. It excited me. It really did. We got to talk about there are actually 5 picks for the NFC North. We're going to talk about that when we come back and then have some fun with JB. What's trending with JB Smooth?
Yes, sir.
But Kool-Aid, can you tell them about Swiss Insurance? Shout out Alicia Keys.
Big shout out.
What? Swiss Beats. What up, though, man? Swiss, he should have got some insurance for that, man.
Oh, he got paid.
Yeah.
He good.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know about that.
Just a few days before Valentine's Day, too, man. You let your girl get kind of razzed by a usher. Yeah. But you know what? I know you guys got football in the brain, and we got football coming up in this next segment. It's going to be awesome. But this is also a perfect time, though, to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you, too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at SwissINS.com or call 248-800-4177. And for our brother Flannel Sam, again, that's 248-800-4177.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
What up, though, Detroit? Welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward. I love talking about our Detroit sports teams.
Oh, yeah.
All of them. Shout out to everybody who continues to stick around. Just smash that like button if you're a fan of all 4 Detroit sports teams. We love our Lions. And it's great that they're finally at the cusp, that they're on the edge of greatness, on the edge of just being one of those elite teams in the NFL. It took a long time to get there. You know what I saw? I saw fans support them throughout the years. And I do got faith in all of our Detroit sports teams that over the next 2 to 3 seasons, we're going to be seeing a renaissance in Detroit sports. I really do. I believe it. I believe it, man. The Red Wings, they're right there. They're up next. The Tigers, I believe that we're going to see some things that are going to be a firm foundation for seasons to come for the Detroit Tigers. And the Detroit Pistons, they're in flux right now. There is no mistaking or excusing that. But I do believe that there are brighter days ahead.
Believe. Ted Lasso says believe. You gotta believe in the Pistons. This is when the Pistons are good, all things are right in this world. When all the Detroit sports teams, we just want them all at the same time. Let's make that happen. But we got a caller on the line. Did I hear Pete?
Yeah, Pete. Welcome to Wake Up Woodward. What's up, man?
Pete, good morning.
Good morning.
One more time.
How's it going, guys?
Fantastic, Pete.
Can you hear me? Good. Hey, Kool-Aid, congratulations on the baby girl.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Listen, I have a quick question. What happened to Booner?
Booner's no longer at this network. He has moved on to a different job.
I gotcha. Okay, I like you both at night. I like watching you at night. That's okay, no problem. I like the heavyweights. I watch you guys. Okay, anyhow, I'm glad they're on defense. I think that guy that got from the CFL was awesome.
Can you say that one more time, Pete? I just missed the player you named.
The guy from the CFL.
Oh, the guy from the CFL, Matthew Betts?
Yeah, Matthew Betts, correct.
Yes, you interested in him?
I think it's a good cheap person. That's good.
Yes, absolutely. I think Matthew Betts, who we discussed in a little more detail in the first segment of the show, but he's one of those guys, CFL Defensive Player of the Year. I believe it's called Most Outstanding Defensive Player of the Year. Just a not necessarily a young kid. He's 28 years old, had a brief stint with the Bears after he was drafted in 2019, but he's got some tools. Right. You know, he's got some energy. He's got that Aiden Hutchinson-like motor. He's not Aiden Hutchinson. Let me make that clear. But he's one of those guys that can come in with Brad Holmes being such a great evaluator of talent. There's something to him. There's something they see in Matthew Betts to bring him in. Likely on the practice squad is where he'll be. But, again, you never know what a player like that could turn into in the right situation.
I I trust Brad Holmes.
Yes.
But hey, so it's good. Hey, I'm going down to spring training next month for the Tigers.
Oh, no way. You gonna see them? They start games next week, right? So you going to see any spring training games?
I'm going to Clearwater. My buddy has a condo down there. Me and my 4 buddies, we all turned 60 this year. So we've been living for the last 10 years.
Oh, man. Well, congratulations and happy birthday. And the last question I'll ask you, maybe it's a record prediction, or are they going to win the AL Central? What do you think the Tigers, how do you think they're going to finish in this 2024 season?
First place.
Let's go. Let's go. Pete, we appreciate the call. First place in the AL Central. If they got a shot.
So he's buying stock.
Yeah, he's buying stock. Pete's buying stock. They are, I believe Vegas has them finishing second. The Twins won it last year. I believe they're ahead of them in terms of betting odds. But Detroit Tigers, they got pieces to compete. The AL Central is going to be down. I think the Twins are going to be down. So this is an opportunity. Even though a young team, they're going to have struggles.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, I see them being within a couple games of the AL Central crown. You never know what could happen in September.
Healthy. That's it.
Yeah, and I got to ask you guys this question too. We can go around the room just real quick before we get into the segment. Are you guys buying stock in the Tigers in this AL Central?
Yes. Because for me, you want to hold your stock for longer than 365 days, so you don't have to pay short-term capital gains taxes. So if you get to buy it, if you have a long-term outlook, this team is going to start competing for real, I believe, in the next 2 to 3 years. It might be that third year. They might be ahead of schedule next year and make some things happen. But the way their foundation is built, the way their not just bullpen, their pitching staff is built. They're deep. They have a nasty bullpen. They might add another piece to try to shrink the game so some of these young players, young hitters, don't have to have as much pressure to put 10 runs on the board every game. If you can have a couple games out there where your starter only needs to go 5 and you got a bullpen to shut the door, that's the way baseball's kind of moving. A young staff like this, someone with like Casey Mize, you're going to monitor their innings. Wins can happen. You never know what this team can do. They can go on a stretch.
Yeah, and I like what Rob Beard had to say about it as well. If they can give this team some run support, these young pitchers, it just makes everything that much easier. And I do believe that they're going to be able to do that. I'm wondering, because one of my questions is to people who are definitely cued in completely to who this Detroit Tigers team is. I remember the Justin Verlander years, and I remember how it started off. It was something where, you know what, you want to be able to buy stock in a team when you look back in hindsight. When you look back at that team, they didn't win too many games, but we look back now and we realize that the young players that they had on that squad were ones to believe in. Are you kind of getting a similar vibe to what's going on with this Detroit Tigers team now?
I believe in a thing called love. It is Valentine's Day. KG?
Yeah. I agree with you guys totally. And I don't see why the Tigers, if they stay healthy and if they can get consistent run support, they should touch 80 wins this year.
That's where I'm going.
I'm all in, man. I think 84 is the number. That's the number I keep thinking about in my head. But
84 is a special number in Detroit. You know that.
It is.
1984.
It is, yeah. But they just, we have to see some things before, that can take place. But with a weak AL Central, like you said, man, I don't believe in the Twins like that. And we all know about the Royals and the Guardians. I think the Tigers are primed this year to win the division, and we'll see what they do, man.
Just a little bit of a tease. If you get your way into the playoffs in a 5-game series and you got Skubal pitching, maybe Mize gets back to top of the rotation form. Jack Flaherty, although he had a down year last year, he's got some stuff. Like he's a real dude who that's a kind of a nasty 3-man rotation, and you never know who's gonna come out of the woodworks and be a stud.
And shout out to Just a Fan. He said, "Where's Sammy?" He said he tuned in late. He's filling in today on Big D Energy, you'll be able to catch him there. He will be back on the show tomorrow. He's like this versatile piece here. We're
all wearing a lot of hats these weeks to piggyback on a question Pete asked. There's been a lot of changes, as you guys all know, but we got guys like Sam Flannel, Kool-Aid, Ryan and Noah in the back, Travis on socials, all guys, and I'm leaving some people out, and I apologize.
We'll
Brady and Griffin. We're making some adjustments. We're wearing a lot of hats, but we're excited to be here on this morning show for you. Sam Flannel will be on Big D Energy, filling in for Neil next show at 11 o'clock, but he'll be back. And we're actually actually going to save. I see you guys in the chat talking about this quarterback controversy. It was on the show prep today. We're going to save it for Flannel tomorrow because I know he's got a perspective about quarterbacks that needs to be involved in this conversation to keep me and my Jared Goff, I'll say fandom in this segment, at bay. So we're going to save that comment. But there's still a lot of things going on, especially with the Lions.
Sam will keep us honest, right?
What was that?
I said Sam will keep us honest.
He will keep us honest. He will keep us honest. But CBS, they released a mock draft yesterday that raised my eyebrows. We're going to run through the NFC North picks real quick, and then we're going to get to the Lions at 29. It opened my eyes. I want to see what you guys think about it. But first, with the number 1 overall pick, the Chicago Bears are selecting Caleb Williams. We're going to be quick with our analysis. You guys okay with this? We'll have the Justin Fields conversation another day, but as things stand, drafting Caleb number 1, you cool?
This is exactly what I see them doing.
Cool.
Yeah, they're definitely.
So number 1, no debating there. I believe the next pick in the NFC North is number 9, also the Chicago Bears. This is where it starts to get interesting when we're talking about the Lions. They're going for Jared Verse out of Florida State, edge rusher. This guy keeps climbing the draft boards. A lot of people want the Lions to maybe trade up for him. But you can see with the Bears, they're trying to build a defense that is going to get to Jared Goff.
Yep, that's
Jordan Love, right?
That was exactly my thought. When you talk about how good Jared Goff is when the Detroit Lions keep him clean in the pocket, basically, then all the other teams are going to have to react to what the Lions do great. And when you're talking about Penei Sewell in this offensive line, if the Bears want to be somebody that can ultimately compete, especially if you're moving away from Justin Fields, bringing in Caleb Williams, I think that beefing up that that defensive line for the Chicago Bears, it makes them that much more competitive.
Yeah, him and Montez Sweat and those linebackers.
Yeah,
I see what you're doing, Bears. I see what you better sign Jalen Johnson. Otherwise, we might be snagging him here in Detroit. Next pick, the Minnesota Vikings. Another, a pick aimed at Detroit. Cornerback Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. It's a guy who slid ahead or being analyzed ahead of Kool-Aid McKinstry, his defensive back mate in Alabama. Really good player.
Yeah.
They're at him. What do you think, KG?
I'm a big fan of his game, man. I almost like him better than Kool-Aid McKinstry. Big size. Big size. I know. Closeout speed is amazing. This guy runs a 4.4, so just put that out there. And he has ball skills, so I can definitely see them moving up to get this guy. And if they do, man, it's going to be a bad loss. But
scary. Any thoughts from you guys, or did KG cover it?
He covered it.
Cool. Here we go. The next pick for the Green Bay Packers. I believe it's number 25. They're going Troy Fautanu, interior offensive lineman from Washington. They were the best offensive line in college football until the playoffs when Michigan beat them. But this is a good pick. This is directed at protecting Jordan Love.
Yeah.
This is not exactly what Aaron Rodgers was screaming for all his years, but this is almost there. This is help for Jordan Love. They're to me, this signals a long-term investment coming for Jordan Love, and they're trying to do whatever they can to keep him healthy.
It shows a belief in Jordan Love. You know, the first game against the Detroit Lions in Lambeau, I thought, you know what, he could be kind of a serviceable quarterback. But as that season went on, I saw somebody who was absolutely, we used to say Stafford windows. We started to see some Love windows. I think it's appropriate on Valentine's Day. And he was able to make not just good throws, but under pressure, on the run, throwing across his body, throwing across the middle into some great windows to be able to give his wide receivers not just opportunity to catch the ball, but to be able to get some yards after the catch as well. Jordan Love is somebody that you absolutely, if you're going to make the investment in him, before it's a contract, you got to start on that offensive line.
Yes.
And best believe, y'all, the NFC North is watching, man. They are taking the Lions model. Build up that offensive line, and you can have great success. So
you have a point there, KG. And here it goes. At number 29, your Detroit Lions select. Hey, Brandon, you want to take this one?
Oh, yeah. Kool-Aid McKinstry, man.
Yes.
Let's go.
Junior cornerback out of Alabama, 6'1", 195 pounds. Kool-Aid lands in the land of Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid. Man, you guys got to be jacked about this. I know he might not be your number one cornerback on the board, but do you think this or attacking the cornerback. What do you think about this pick at 29? Kool-Aid McKinstry, if he falls, take him.
I kind of want the Detroit Lions to be able to upgrade this defensive backfield both through the draft and in free agency. And if you're going through free agency, I don't think that you can be upset at all about if it's Kool-Aid McKinstry there at 29 for the Detroit Lions, even if you don't think that he is the top option. I believe that if he falls to the Detroit Lions and you take him, he's one of those players that Brad Holmes talks about, the instinct. He's one of those players that you say, you know what, irregardless of the numbers, irregardless of these things that people are going to look at combine-wise, he's just one of those players that you say, you know what, we know he's a winner. We know that he's a big game defensive back. And if you compare him with a potentially another veteran-like defensive back, I think that bodes well for the Detroit Lions.
And Brian Branch, year
Brian
2
Branch,
safety.
yeah.
Jameer Gibbs is obviously on offense, but this Alabama pipeline and KG, the first sentence I see says he's got great size, 6'1", 195.
Shout out Brendan Dillinger, man.
Yeah.
But no, you can't go wrong either way, man. This would be an absolute great pick for the Detroit Lions. I know I said I like Terrion Arnold more, but you can't go wrong with Kool-Aid McKinstry, man. He's just as physical. He plays that outside man position. And that's the perfect fit we need for this AG defense. So I'm all with it.
JB, do you dig this?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, come on. Kool-Aid McKinstry, the name alone fits itself in Detroit as it is. But if he does fall, this will be an amazing pickup for the Detroit Lions. As KG said, you know, it's great size. He is a little handsy when it comes to, you know, pressing at the line. He is very aggressive. But then again, once again, that's what we need here in Detroit. You want those kind of aggressive guys to show, like, hey, you're not about to catch this pass. And I think he kind of, that attitude with him and CD Deuce, I think both together, like, yo, that can be a deadly combination.
CD Deuce, I love that you went there, by the way, because I got some news on him. I think we're going to talk about it more in detail tomorrow, but he may be coming back. There may be whispers of him returning to the Lions on a short-term deal. But man, pairing him, Kool-Aid McKinstry, with CD Deuce, with whoever they bring, another veteran at cornerback. We talked about Brian Branch. Iffy. I would rather have he's handsy, like JB said, he's handsy, he's aggressive, especially when he's pressing up at the line of scrimmage. I'd rather you start that way and have this coaching staff have to pull him back rather than have to put some dog in him, rather have to, you know, feed him some aggression. They got despite the struggles of the cornerbacks, they have a strong coaching staff. Dre Bly will help this guy out. We got Deshae Townsend now. I would love this pick, especially if he falls to 29. We're going to be digging into him a little bit more as we go through this draft prospect. But when we come back,
wait, I got to read this.
Oh, comment. Go for it.
That's why I started laughing, man. Hoof-hearted. He said, if Kool-Aid is a little handsy, he can also do the halftime show with Alicia Keys.
Hoof-hearted.
Oh my God.
We got jokester. I sometimes when we're on the show, we got to do better about talking to the chat. This is something as we get more experienced up here on the decks. Good call out though. Hoof-hearted. He's got some gems all show. Mike G, Freddie Felt, Eduardo O'Neill, 8Diz411. I can't name you all, but we got some legends in this chat. When we come back, I got a quick Valentine's Day mystery to tell you guys about, and we got what's trending with JB Smoove. Kool-Aid's gonna hype that up when we send it over to him.
Yes, sir.
But be ready for when we come back.
Yes, sir. But first, I got to tell the people about Lady Jane's. It's Valentine's Day. You want to kind of be making sure that you're looking right for that special somebody in your life. You can come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tourney. That's right. No expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Kind of like our crew, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
You guys, you may hear me often talk about my pet lion. I actually named him Detroit Lion.
Meow.
And where do I go to make sure I can take the best care of this Detroit Lion?
Tell me, Premier Pet Supply Kool-Aid.
You already know, to give your pet the best, it is Premier Pet Supply. Hands down, it's Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the convenience of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference: family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local curbside and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com. Wake up, wake up, wake up, Woodward.
We're back.
What up, though,
Wake
people?
up.
Let's rock, man. Man, I thought this has been a pretty good show.
Oh yeah, we're hitting on all a day where so many Detroit sports teams lost.
Yeah,
we're finding some optimism in the conversation. We're talking to Rod Beard. We're talking Lions, Pistons, Tigers, Red Wings, a little bit of Michigan basketball. Now we're going to talk Chicago Bulls. What? I
don't love them.
Huh? I'll tell you why. And it actually involves a Michigan legend.
He's over
actually
here trying to break my
at the
heart
end
on
of the story.
Valentine's Day. Trying to break my heart on Valentine's
Michael
Day.
Jordan's heart was broken on Valentine's Day.
This Pistons stuff.
But
while
first,
you talk
by the
this.
way, I got to figure out how we do this best. But we're going to start sending in your mock drafts as we go along. Whether it's to one of our Twitters, MattBro21 is mine. We got Detroit Kool-Aid over here. We'll get the information out to you, but start sending in your mock drafts so we can react to them live on the show. We're going to start doing that more and more as the weeks go by, maybe starting tomorrow or Friday. So shoot them over, but I'm going to start the story. This will be 5 minutes before we send it over to JB Smoove. But I'm going to start with a trivia question to kick this off. And for you in the chat, answer in the chat too. Michael Jordan, throughout his professional athletics career, that's baseball and basketball, I should say basketball and baseball, has worn 4 jersey numbers. 4. I know he's famous for one, which you guys probably know. But what are the other ones? Can you name all 4? Can either guys name all 4?
23, 45, 12 for a game.
What?
Yeah.
Why was he wearing number 12?
That, I don't remember the story.
So we'll this is actually, so Freddie Felt last night, I was texting with him. He reminded me of the 4th number. I've been telling the story with 3. But Michael Jordan did spend one game, or actually, the number he wore with the Dream Team, he wore number 9.
Oh,
9.
That's right.
But he's known for 23. He wore 45 after his first retirement with the Bulls. Yeah. He also wore 45 when he was with the Birmingham Barons of the Chicago White Sox organization. He wore number 9 with the Dream Team. But then this is the quick Valentine's Day story. Number 12. There was one game in his career where Michael Jordan wore number 12. It was in 1990 at the end of a long road trip. Michael Jordan and the Bulls took on the Orlando Magic. The team, Michael Jordan, went out for shoot-around around 5:30. That's when the equipment manager put the number 23 jersey in Michael Jordan's locker room. When he got back to his locker around 6 o'clock, that jersey was missing. It was missing. It was missing. The security staff, the camera crew, they were sending people around the arena asking fans, looking for someone wearing a jersey that would fit Michael Jordan, number 23 jersey, with his name on the back. They were scouring cameras. Ushers were trying to find fans. It was this whole thing leading up before this game.
I took it and I burned it.
You burned the number 23?
Yeah, get Jordan out of here. Detroit, let's go.
I am cool with that. But they never found it. They didn't find a fan with a jersey big enough for the 6'6" Michael Jordan to wear. So the Chicago Bulls, not having brought extra jerseys for all their players, flying commercial, trying to save money, not putting that extra jersey in for each player, had a number 12 jersey, an extra number 12, with no name on the back. No name on the back. So that's what Michael Jordan had to wear out for this game. He was pissed. He's a very superstitious guy. It's well known that he wore the same shorts under his jersey for every single NBA game he played his entire career.
Wow.
So he was pissed.
It worked.
What do you think he ended up doing? Dropped 49 points.
Jesus
They lost.
Christ.
They lost, but he dropped 49 points, and he vowed never to wear the number 12 jersey again.
Ever again.
And he was able to wear number 23 and 45. The funny thing is, this isn't very well documented. There's some pictures, a couple videos from the game. But there's a 1990 Sam Vincent. It's an NBA Hoops trading card. In the bottom right corner of it, I don't know if you have the full-size picture. In the bottom right corner, there's Michael Jordan wearing the jersey number 12. It's a Sam Vincent, who was a former star at Michigan State. He was Mr. Basketball in 1981 at Eastern High School in Lansing. Michael Jordan ended up actually hiring him as the Charlotte Bobcats head coach in 2007, and he didn't make it through a full year. It's just funny to me. The one game he wears, it shows up on a Sam Vincent card. It's number 12. He scored 49 points. It's just a story I love to tell. One of the stories that got me into collecting cards, knowing that a random 1990 Sam Vincent basketball card actually has this whole long mystery to it.
Gee, you're right.
Side note, it came out a couple years later. There was a security guard that had taken the jersey in between shoot around and them getting dressed in the locker room, stashed it in the ceiling of the visiting locker room.
Wow.
They had found a tile-off place. So they found out who did it. The mystery was solved. But there's Michael Jordan wearing number 12 in the corner. How about that?
Hey,
Do you
I like
think
the
that's cool?
story.
Crazy.
I like the story, man.
It's on Valentine's Day, so there we go. There's my Valentine's Day mystery.
It's pretty dope.
Hey,
That's cool.
Michael Jordan.
now you know what time it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Kick
his
it off.
numbers.
It is time for the most electrifying sports segment in sports entertainment. What's trending with JB Smooth?
What's going on, fellas? Hey, once again, happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there right now. But also,
If you smell
Happy
what
birthday.
JB Smooth is cooking.
to one, Rip Hamilton.
Hey,
Rip! When basketball was great.
Yes.
And funny story too, the Rip Hamilton was actually the first Pistons jersey I bought with my own money. So
No way.
all those allowances money that I saved up over the weekends went to buy a Rip Hamilton jersey. No, it wasn't a real authentic jersey because, you know, I wasn't saving up that much money.
Yeah.
But still, you know, a good $80 went kind of far, you know.
Hey, Rip was the man.
Rip was the
Rip
man.
was
Shout
the
out
man.
to him.
I still think he's underrated.
The
Still.
best
He's very
mid-range shooter
underrated.
off a screen you have ever seen.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Catch him off that screen.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
over.
over. It was over. But I gotta play this video for you guys because I don't know if you guys know, but not McDonald's, but Burger King's social media account, these guys are a bit savage.
I DM'd Burger King and said I need to make a complaint. They said, "Hi Terrence, what is the complaint?" So I sent them a picture of one of their burgers and said, "Ain't no one eating this. Look at it." To which they replied with, "Look at you," and sent a picture of me and said, "Big off forehead."
What?
It's obviously photoshopped. So I said, "Nah, that's photoshopped." And then they sent it again, playing tic-tac-toe on my forehead. And said, "Your turn."
They cooked his ass.
It's obviously edited. How do you even reply to this?
Yeah, I don't know who's running a Burger King social media account, but Jesus, they
Bro,
are savages.
flame grilled hate, huh?
Right. Oh my God.
Savage.
You can't have it your way.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh, they play tic-tac-toe on his forehead?
On his forehead. That is wild.
Rude. That's me in the PR department. Like literally.
Like when social media does it right, especially some of the bigger corporations, it can be great. It can be hilarious.
Yeah.
That was kind of savage.
I was like, yo, at
Their
first
burger
it was
looks
like,
nasty.
okay, cool. But they were just like, nah, we chose violence today. Today's
They
about
really
relentless
chose violence today.
relentless violence.
That is ridiculous. And lastly, I got to play you guys this video because apparently still the heavyweights don't like punchkis, I guess. And they posted this yesterday.
Happy Fat Tuesday from the Woodward Heavyweights. Today we get to celebrate these donuts that no one likes. Trash. Here's the about punchkis.
Oh.
I love it. Right. Fully
Hold me back. Hold me back.
Back up in your ass with the resurrection. Is the group harder than the erection that shows no affection? They want to ban us on Capitol Hill. Cause it's diamond, motherfuckers, diamond. All along it was the ghetto, nothing but the ghetto.
Oh, he's a lefty?
Steps one
Spencer's a
foot at
lefty?
a time and get my head low. And never never let go. Cause if I let go, then I'll be spineless. I'm going insane.
I'm going easy a change up for
Happy
sure.
Fat Tuesday from the Woodward Heavyweights. Shut up.
Happy Fat Tuesday from the Woodward.
Yeah, so they still don't like
Oh,
Punchkis, and they posted that video yesterday. I know it's an old video, but still, it's a classic. But
It's a
that's it for
classic,
what's trending with JB. Back
That
to you
was
guys.
epic. Time out. That video was epic. Was that Office Space inspired? Like
Yes,
the
yeah,
fax machine or
definitely.
the copy machine?
Yep.
Wow, heavyweights. Well, that skit, that deserves a round of applause for me.
I definitely, man.
You got the background music. That was epic. You got to clean those Nikes off, though. Stomping on a Punchki with your clean black and white
With the
Nikes.
ones? Yeah, can't do that in the ones, man.
Can't do that. You had something to say about those numbers real quick before we go to our last break.
Oh, no, I was just saying that every one of Jordan's numbers is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you
I
think
never
about it.
picked up on that.
It's crazy.
Never
That's crazy.
picked up on
A
that.
legend ahead of his time.
Crazy. Get your mailbag questions in. This is our last 5 minutes of the show. We're going to go take a break right now. I think it's to me, actually.
Feldman, yep.
Feldman Chevrolet. Let me tell you about them, because since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. They have over 18 locations, so there's got to be a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Just visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Also catch Woodward Sports there live every other Monday at their Novi dealership. They host us, and that's part of what makes Feldman Chevrolet Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
What up, though, Detroit, man? It's Wake Up Woodward. I appreciate all of you all in the chat for being a big part of this show today, as always. Definitely make sure you hit that like button to support the crew. We got the rest of the week ahead to be able to bring you guys some awesome content. As always, we're going to cover all 4 Detroit sports teams, man. The Lions, the Red Wings, the Tigers, and the Pistons. We got mailbag on the way, too, so definitely get your questions in there. If we have to do a little bit of overtime, we don't mind.
I see one good one already, but I think we're taking a caller real
we got
quick.
a call here, man. You told me it's Mr. Energy himself?
Yes, sir.
Let's
Devin
go,
from
man.
Inkster.
The
What up,
pride of
homie?
Inkster. What up, though, bro?
Oh, whoa.
Robot, I can't hear you.
All right, let's try this one more time. I don't know what happened. You sounded good,
good.
before. Devin.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we ain't going to be able to take
Sounds like you're in one of those voice machines to prove you're not about to rob a bank. Devin, call back tomorrow. We'll take your call tomorrow. We'll get to some of these mailbag questions. Or
He had that
if you call
Batman
back right
voice
now and it
box
works.
on.
Right.
Yeah. Mailbag. I got to hit this one first. Eduardo. Mailbag. Who is the Lions' biggest threat in the NFC? In parentheses, I think Chicago over San Francisco. The #1 pick in the draft, Chicago Bears.
He's talking about all of the NFC?
All of NFC or NFC North?
NFC. No, just NFC. San Francisco 49ers aren't in the NFC North. I would actually pick the Packers over the Bears in terms of the NFC North.
Yeah.
I'm still putting the 49ers as the biggest threat to the Lions.
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
They're the best team in the NFC.
And they're not really losing many people, although they'll lose Drake Greenlaw. They still have a stacked roster.
Maybe
you expect them to be
Brandon
back.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I said maybe Brandon AU. We don't know.
Yeah.
He's in a contract little dispute with them
Very
at the
true.
moment. So
A big contract dispute.
Yeah, I don't see any other team. The Lions are the second best team in the NFC, y'all. So it would have to be the 49ers.
Yeah. I'm not saying Dallas. I'm not saying Philly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tampa.
I think Philly's falling apart, all honesty.
They might be. They might be. You never know what step the Rams take in this next year. If Stafford's fully healthy, They have another good draft. You never know about
Yeah.
them, but no, to me, it's the 49ers.
If they pick up J.J. McCarthy.
Interesting, Eduardo. Interesting. Mailbag, Freddie Felt 313. Favorite snacks to eat at Comerica Park for Tigers games? He gets nachos, hot dogs, and Cracker Jacks. Appreciate y'all. XOXO. Happy Valentine's Day, my dog. I'm a hot dog. I mean, ballpark Frank, I should say.
Ballpark?
Ballpark?
A beer and a dog. That's really all I would get at a game.
It's good at a baseball game.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a good summer shandy as well.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a
Any
summer
other outside
shandy
the
guy.
box that you guys like? Any other? Are you more nachos guy or those?
I had one, actually. Sorry
Sugary-
to cut you off there, Kool-Aid. My
No,
bad.
go ahead.
I forgot what the barbecue place is out there at Comerica Park, but it was like pulled pork and mac and cheese together.
Ooh.
Pulled pork.
Pulled pork
Was it
and
like a
mac-
Slows barbecue?
Yeah, I think it was like Slows or something like that, but I can't remember the name of the place. But yeah, it was a barbecue spot. They had pulled pork and mac and cheese combined together. That was just amazing.
Hey, I got one that I always got to get at the game. Cinnamon roasted almonds.
Those are fire.
Yeah, classic.
Slept
Anywhere.
on.
From the auto show to sporting events, you got to make sure that you get those, man.
That reminds me of the Palace. Like, I think of the smell of those when I think of the Palace. That's what I would get if I was at a Pistons game.
Yeah, and what I'm looking forward to as it relates to like what you eat at the ballpark is every year it seems like Comerica Park comes up with some of the wildest and craziest combinations of food. I'm waiting to see what the menu is going to be this year.
Yeah,
man.
they get creative with how they present it to their fans.
Yep.
Mailbag, John Effing Lord. Crew, if you guys know about kickers, feel free to cut me off. I'm going to read this. I don't know an answer, John. If you could get anyone for our kicker, international, XFL, or draft, who would it be? To me, really, the only one I know is the Alabama kicker, and I don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing some research, but
I'm going in free agency
they
for
need
my
somebody.
kicker.
A veteran?
Yeah, I don't know who's on the market this year. I would have to look, but they just need a reliable veteran kicker to come out and help this team put points on the board when they need to. So I would definitely go free agency more than drafting one.
I see a question here too as well for the Pistons. You guys all know I got to
Herb
look
Nash?
out for the Pistons. Yeah,
Let me read it off to you so you answer.
Definitely.
Mailbag, Pistons will more than likely get a top 5 pick. Is there anybody coming in the draft that could help this team take the next step? And I have a follow-up Pistons question from Noah for you when you're done answering.
Yes, sir. Look, obviously the position of need is the 4 spot for the Detroit Pistons. Alexander Sarr, 7'1". It gives him some size at that position. But for me personally, I think that it's a long shot for them to even get the opportunity to draft him. We've seen the Detroit Pistons kind of get screwed over in these drafts. I'm actually on the side of the Detroit Pistons being able to, when they get to the draft, because they couldn't trade at the trade deadline because of the protections that's on it. But when you get to the draft, obviously going to convey to the Pistons as top 18 protected. I want to see them be able to package that with other players and be able to trade that away for a solid veteran, a solid contributing starting four level player. That's what I want to see out of the Detroit Pistons. But
love it.
Alexander Sarr.
Love it. How about a 5? Noah MS Mailbag. Kool-Aid, do you think we could sign Nick Claxton this offseason? And would you want him as a backup 5?
Yeah, listen, man, you want to talk about just a position of absolute need. The Pistons' identity as it relates to being tough, as it relates to playing physical, as it relates to going after the rebounds, as it relates to being able to play in the paint from a defensive standpoint, that they have none of that going on. As much as I love Jalen Duren, they need to get more physical. They need to get more tough. I'm hoping that the Detroit Pistons are looking at not just Claxton, but anybody else they believe can be one of those kind of sneaky good, not overly expensive picks to be able to come in here and absolutely play with heart in that paint. That's something that we've seen, whether the Pistons have been good or bad throughout the years. To not see it on this current version of the Pistons, it's honestly a little bit heartbreaking on Valentine's Day.
I think Nick Claxton would be a great pickup for this team as a backup center. Anything is better than James Wiseman at this point. He's not aggressive, man, and he just lets a lot of boards go by the wayside. You need a dominant presence down there, and I do like what Nick Claxton brings.
Not the Southpaw James?
I can't. He ain't doing it for me, man.
I had high hopes for James Wiseman, but I guess I was wrong on that as well too. But side note, I just seen this scroll up. I guess the Warriors tried to attempt to get LeBron James by the trade deadline, but it didn't happen.
I heard about that.
Wow.
So that's crazy.
What would they have given up?
You talk about
Clay
trying to
would have
win
had to
at
go,
all.
right?
Clay would have had to go. That's
Clay
that's
and
a haul
Draymond
for LeBron James.
LeBron probably wouldn't want Draymond to go. He'd probably want Draymond on the Warriors if he was on that team. Wow, they got it up on ESPN right now. Maybe we talk about that tomorrow. One last question though to bring it up, and it's actually a rhetorical question. Woodcock. CK says mailbag. Do we fully comprehend how alive the city is? Lions are on the rise. Tigers are promising. Red Wings are there. NFL draft. NCAA. the Midwest Regional. This is a big year for Detroit.
Yeah,
I know they didn't bring up the Pistons or Michigan or whatever, but
Pistons.
this city's
okay.
coming alive, right?
Yep.
How cool is this?
It's awesome, man. It's an awesome time. Like I said, in Detroit sports, just in general, man. I can't wait for the draft. You're talking about the NCAA tournament. I will be there. Tom Mazaway, Ermanni and Edwards, and myself, we are credentialed to cover it this season. And I can't wait for that, man. I think it's going to be awesome. I believe that Detroit does these sporting events better than anybody else in the country. And I'm going to be a little bit biased. They call me Detroit Kool-Aid for a reason. But I love this area, man. I've lived in several different places across the state. I've gotten the opportunity to kind of travel and be able to play basketball in multiple different states. And I'm telling you, the most comfortable sports city there is in this country, to me, is Detroit, man.
Let's go.
They do it good.
I can't wait for Little Caesars Arena, whether it's the Red Wings before the Pistons, probably going to be. Little Caesars Arena, we haven't experienced all 4 teams actually living in Detroit, down in Detroit.
Yeah.
This is going to get fun. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Kool-Aid, will you take us out?
Hey, definitely, man. Thank you, as always, for you guys tapping in to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you spending your morning with us. Definitely share the stream. Put a like on the stream to support the crew, especially for JB's hat. Don't be a menace. His hat
like
game
Dennis.
is goated, man. I love it, man. But no, real talk. For our brothers that's not here this morning, Terry Foster, Flannel Sam, we definitely love you guys. Appreciate you all. For our legendary booth boys, right? We got JB Smooth the GOAT. We got KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick. From my brother over here, the credential Detroit Lions and Detroit Tigers beat reporter and beat writer Matt Broder. And it's your boy Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, the credentialed Detroit Pistons beat writer and reporter for Woodward Sports. Thank you all for being here. Have a great day. Hope you guys have that love in your life. And if not, man, continue to cling on to these lines.
Call me.
Hey, Broder's single, y'all. Hey, just for the ladies out there.
Let's go. Have a great day.